Welcome to Everyday Martial Artist, a weekly podcast where you'll join me, Brian Doucette, as I interview a different martial artist each episode and hear their story. Some guests you may have heard of, and some you probably haven't. Be sure to subscribe where all your favorite podcasts are available. Also visit our website at everydaymartialartist.com. If you're listening for a specific interview, I sure hope you'll stay and check out the other episodes. A very special thank you to Topher Williams for our custom theme music. And now, the newest episode of Everyday Martial Artist. Everyday Martial Artist is brought to you by KOOnline.com for all your martial arts needs. Sparring and safety gear, rank belts, uniforms, weapons, patches, and more. Wholesale supplies made by martial artists for martial artists. Visit us today at ko-online.com. Hello and welcome to Everyday Martial Artist. I'm your host, Brian Doucette, and as we do every week, we're joined by a brand new guest talking about their life and their journey throughout the world of martial arts and other stuff they're involved in. My guest today is a martial artist, motivational speaker, commentator, and author who has studied martial arts for over 4 decades. From an unstable and traumatic childhood, she used martial arts to transform her life, winning Olympic Gold in 1988. Martial arts led her to Hollywood, where you've seen her perform stunts on such blockbuster films as Batman Forever, Charlie's Angels, Terminator 2, Independence Day, Spider-Man 2, Avengers, and more. In the early 2000s, she transitioned to motivational speaking, leading her to speak to crowds around the world. Her book is titled One Step with Courage, The Story of My Life from Olympic Gold Medalist to Hollywood Stuntwoman. Please welcome my guest today, Dana Hee. How are you doing today, Dana?
Well, hello, Brian. This is, Dana, and I'm really glad to be part of your show. Thank you.
I'm excited. I know we've chatted online for probably over a year, and we're finally able to make this happen. I'm glad our schedules finally aligned, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah. And I apologize. We did have a schedule last week, and I was kind of crazy busy because I was headed out to a Comic-Con in San Antonio, Texas.
Nice. Where
I had a lot of fun signing autographs and taking photos. And oh my gosh, it's so cool how the fans dress up and the costumes and outfits of the characters on the movies. It's really cool. And there was a lot of Trekkie people there. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, some people definitely take it to another level. It's crazy, but it would be
really
fun.
Interesting and fun. Yeah, I think it's fun.
Nice. Well, what we do with all my guests, I want to go back to the beginning. I mentioned you've been studying martial arts for 4 decades, but I want to know what led to that. Where did that first interest in martial arts come from? Kind of what kicked off your martial arts journey?
It's interesting. It was back when, I was about probably 20. I'd been in a foster family about the last 2.5 years of high school. But right as I graduated, I left and got my own place. And so I was feeling a bit lost and not quite sure what I was doing in life. I had very low self-esteem or confidence, but I used to love doing archery. And there was a college in Cupertino, a junior college, and it was De Anza Junior College. And I would go over there, and they had an archery field, and I would do, shoot my bow and arrows and at the targets. Anyway, I was walking back one evening, and I went through the campus to get out to go to my car, and there was a martial art class going on, and there was million students in there and they're all in beautiful white uniforms and belts and all in precision with their movements. And this little, I shouldn't say that, I guess, but kind of a smaller guy, an older man who was the instructor. He was from Guam and his name was Irv Cloak. Anyway, so I was stopped and I watched them and I just was amazed at the precision and the power and the perfection that they exhibited. And so I went, I think the next day or so and signed up. Wow. So I got involved and that was Shotokan Karate.
Nice.
And I stayed with that. Yeah.
Before that, now, because this is, obviously a different time nowadays with social media and everything and 1,000 TV channels, everyone is familiar with. Back then, before seeing that, did you know anything about martial arts at all?
No. All I knew, and I was fascinated by this, was the old Bruce Lee movies. Okay. And I'd be watching, I love Bruce Lee. And there's my rooster crowing. And so I was amazed at these ninja warriors that could jump up into trees and, float through the air with a saber or, sword. And it was really cool. And so that was fascinating to me. And so when I saw that, I thought, oh, this is really cool. It was the best decision I've ever almost the best decision I've ever made in my life.
Mm-hmm. And did I read you stayed in Shotokan for, was it almost 4 years?
Yeah, if not over that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And at any time with Shotokan, did you get involved in the competition, or did that not come until later when you got involved in Taekwondo?
I did a little bit of forms competition.
Okay.
And so I did kata. And I was actually, I have to say, quite good.
Nice.
I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to some things. And so as I started training, I just really soaked it up and absorbed it. And yeah, I did a few tournaments, very small.
Okay. Yeah, I did Shotokan when I was in high school. That was my second style I studied. And
What was your first?
first was Tang Sudo when I was 10.
Oh, nice. I love Tang Sudo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My core system is traditional Taekwondo. I've been doing that for over 30 years with my same instructor. But yeah, Tang Sudo was what launched it when I was 10 after seeing The Karate Kid.
Who's your instructor with Taekwondo?
His name is Grandmaster Jim Grimstead out of Fargo, North Dakota. He runs a school called Red River Traditional Taekwondo. I started with him when I started with him. He was a 4th degree back in '94, and so I've been with him.
Oh my gosh!
I've taken some breaks, obviously, with family stuff and injuries and kids and all the other stuff, but I've been pretty much consistently with him since March of '94. So.
Okay, what's the name of your school?
Red River Traditional Taekwondo.
Well, I'd like to send a shout out to Red River Traditional Taekwondo and your instructor and all your students, because I think it's really cool that you guys are all practicing.
Nice. Yeah, it's cool. It is a lot of fun.
And teaching.
You said you did some form. So you didn't do any sparring on the Shotokan side for competition?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I was fairly good in Shotokan with the kumite, fighting, but no, I never had an interest back then.
Interesting. Okay. And what made the decision to switch schools? What made you to decide to stop Shotokan? And did that school close? Did you purposely seek a new school? Kind of what happened there?
Oh, that was interesting. Okay, so our school would have interclub fighting sparring sessions with other clubs. And we did this, periodically. And anyway, one time we were having an interclub thing, and we were lined up in 2 lines, each person facing a partner. And they would say, begin, and you would spar for a period of time, and you would stop, and of course you bow in, bow out, and then you would switch. One line would switch a person, so you spar different people. Anyway, I ended up sparring this black belt. I would think I was a green belt.
Okay.
And I ended up sparring a black belt who was very handsome. Anyway, so as we were sparring, I and he had his arm in a cast.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So anyway, but I accidentally kicked him in the what down low. Hard. Anyway, so I was so apologetic. But anyway, we started sparring again, and he kind of showed me he could still kick my butt. But anyway, it was kind of love at first kick. Nice. So he was Taekwondo, and so as we got together and we eventually started seeing each other, and so eventually I moved up to the area where he was, and that's why I switched out of the Shotokan, because it's too far of a drive. So And then he was with Taekwondo with Murukwon Taekwondo. And so I started with them, and it was great.
Nice. And what belt did you get to in Shotokan?
Advanced brown. It was right before my black.
Oh. Do you ever regret not going back and getting the black, or?
No, because things just progressed on their own, and it was all good. Okay. I mean, I wish I had the black belt, but it's all life.
Okay. So think of some of the first few classes at that new Taekwondo school. First of all, maybe some of the things that stood out as very different compared to Shotokan, and just some of the memories you have those first few classes that made you think this is really cool and I'm going to keep doing this.
Okay. Well, our instructor back then, the owner of the school that started it up, is Marty Mikowski, who has retired. But he was a great instructor, and he had great black belt instructors under him, Chris Jensen and Debbie Peterson. And they were all just amazing. But anyway, so what it really stood out and hooked me was all the kicking that we did. Because in the Shotokan, we did linear kicks, like straight in back kicks or kind of mule style back kicks. But that was about it. And we
Mhm.
didn't do too much head kicks. And in Taekwondo, we did all these head kicks and spinning kicks and jump kicks. And that hooked me. It
Nice.
was cool. And I have long legs and I'm a tall person, so a tall lady. So it was fun.
Okay. And how long did it take you to get into the competition in Taekwondo?
You know, it's funny. Boy, I'd have to place some years because I'm really bad at that. Because I don't remember what year I started with Mikowski's, but it was some years later. And there was a black belt that I really respected who was a great fighter, Lydia Zele. And she started competing in these back then WTF competitions,
Mhm.
back the Olympic style back then, and so she would come home and tell us about it, and I would spar with her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's amazing, and that kind of got me interested because I was fairly good,
Mhm.
and so I started doing a few small tournaments, and it grew from there. But then the Olympic dream set in, so that was kind of a different deal.
Do you remember like when you first heard that, hey, Taekwondo is going to be in the Olympics in '88? Kind of what went through your mind and stuff when you heard that?
Oh, sure, sure. Okay, well, let me preface this
Mhm.
before I tell you that. I grew up with little self-esteem or self-confidence.
Right.
Abandoned at the age of 3, in the orphanage until the age 11 or 12. Then in California, ending up on the street, with all this abusive and alcoholic family, and different things. Mom trying to kill me and whatever. So I ended up on the streets at 15. So I had very little self-confidence or self-esteem. But the one thing that I did have back then, I think, as I started high school, I would see on the back of the Cheerios box, they had people like Mary Lou Retton and stuff like that.
Yep.
Gold medalists who were just amazing. And so the dream was born that I want to win an Olympic gold medal because then I will really be someone.
Wow.
I'll have money and fame and I'll be loved and respected and whatever, right?
Mhm.
So anyway, okay, so I had started competing, I was doing well, and ended up in the nationals competition for the first time with the WTF Taekwondo, and was at that event. And I ended up placing second to the previous national champion for 2 years. So I realized I had some talent, obviously.
Mhm.
And at that time, at that event, they announced that Taekwondo was going to be included in the next Olympic Games.
Wow.
And it was like God, slapped me on the head and said, I'd had that dream earlier and
Mhm.
I had kind of blown my chance, but that's another story.
Mhm.
But anyway, it's like, God slapped me on the head and said, hey, you fool, here's your second chance to go for that Olympic gold. And after that event, I made the determination that no matter what, I was going to try this. I was going to give all my effort to trying to make the Olympic team and win a gold.
Wow.
And I swore to myself, no matter what, I would not turn away. I would not run away from any chance, challenge, or dream, because that's what I'd been doing all of my young adult life.
Mhm. Wow.
So I just made that determination that that's what I was going to do. It didn't matter if I desperately wanted to make the team and win the gold. But the main thing was I was not going to give up. I
Yeah.
was tired of feeling like a failure. And I just wanted to take this dream and just try to make it come true.
So when you made that decision, how did your training regimen change?
Oh my gosh. Well, the thing is, at that time, I only had like 2.5 years before the games.
Mhm.
And I didn't even know the sport. I didn't know it well. I was just kind of getting a feel for it at that nationals. And so I knew I had a lot of change. I needed to change up some of my techniques and everything else. I had to develop more strength and skill and speed and everything. So, oh my gosh, it started out, I think I was training about 3, 4 hours a day, and then it went to about 6.
Wow.
Yeah, 6 hours a day. And fortunately, my husband was amazing. At that point, I ended up kind of leaving my work, which was a 9 to 5 staff accounting job. And so he supported me. And so then when I went to the Olympic Training Center before our official trainings, I ended up training like 8 hours a day.
Wow. That's
Yeah, it
crazy.
was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I would go to bed with ice packs, on my legs or whatever. And my husband, I don't know how he put up with it. And I'd go to bed with ice packs on my legs and then headphones with a voice, a recording that I had gotten for building self-esteem. You are
Okay.
strong, you are beautiful, you are, whatever, you are good. And, just over and over and over again, trying to get that in my brain because although I developed skill and I had great ability and did really, really, really well, I still had an issue with confidence,
Okay.
self-confidence. So I knew that was one of the biggest faults I had. Well, I had two, but that was one of them. And so I did everything I could to try to build that confidence.
That is awesome. And I love that training regimen. When I was training for my black belt, God, almost 20 years ago now. So I was training sometimes up to probably the same thing, 6 to 8 hours a day. I was doing like 4 different training sessions a day, 2 to 3 hours each. But then I would go to bed with headphones, except mine, what I did was, since I had a recording studio in my house, I went through my whole notebook of Taekwondo notes over all my technique that I needed. And I recorded myself reading them to myself. And I'd listen to that at night when I was sleeping. So
Oh,
yeah,
that is awesome.
kind of the same mindset there, I
Oh,
think maybe.
interesting. Yeah,
It
yeah,
worked. I
yeah.
mean, I passed, so it worked, but I don't know if the headphones actually
Exactly.
helped, but I'm telling people they did. So
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's little things like that that can really, build your confidence.
yeah,
I mean, but that wasn't the only thing. I mean, the fact that I dedicated all that time and effort to building my skill and speed and strength and everything, step by step, that started giving me confidence.
nice.
Yeah.
So now I know from other people I've talked to who have done Olympic Taekwondo and competed in the Olympics and stuff, you guys didn't find out until about 6 months before the Olympics that you actually made the team. So talk about that leading up to that, some of the tournaments, preparing for that and getting ready before you actually qualified for the team. Kind of what were some of those like?
Well, okay. The hard thing was, okay, I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
So, we would have some competitions there, events, but I needed more competition experience. So I needed to travel out to other competitions around in other states. So, but I didn't really have the money to do that. So what I did is I went to our local organizations, businesses, and I would go business to business. And basically, I would find out who the CEO is, or the head honcho. I would send them a short letter and say, "Hey, I'm gonna, come by to meet you." And it was all about soliciting funds.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very wonderful and generous. The people in Redwood City, for the
Nice.
most part, a few in Palo Alto and areas. And so I would go event by event and say, "Okay, I need whatever, $500 to do this." Airfare, hotel, the event for cost. And I would raise up money and go to the competition, come home and target another one. So that was the process of getting up to the Olympic team trials.
Wow. Talk about that, the actual team trials and when you actually qualified. Do you remember some of the things that stood out at that specific tournament?
Okay, two things. Okay, so you have nationals, and I was seeded and I qualified. So we went to Olympic team trials. We had two of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Olympic team trials and Olympic team finals. Okay, so Olympic team trials, huge event, right? And this is where either if you win, then you go to Olympic team finals
Okay.
and you have a chance to get on the Olympic team. So at the Olympic team trials, I was there was a very dominant and very strong fighter. I'm trying to remember her name, but Raimondi was her last name.
Okay.
And a great fighter, strong girl, tall like me. Anyway, so she was tough, and she had beaten me at nationals. I thought it was a odd decision but whatever, it doesn't matter. So I had trained specifically for. She always liked to do a spin heel kick, and I trained specifically to do a cut kick when she did the heel kick, so that I could knock her on the ground, which was an easy point.
Mm-hmm.
So I was over. So we started the match, and I was like going like a banshee. I was all over her, and I got her running out of the back or falling out of the back of the ring over and over again. And she was like shocked. So anyway, round two started, and I was cocky now.
Mm-hmm.
And so she went to do that spin kick. I went to do the cut kick, but she was smart. She slipped back half a step. I misjudged. My foot just barely grazed her. She did the kick, clocked me square in the jaw, knocking me unconscious or semi-unconscious to the floor. And I have a great photo from Sal Espinosa, who was there, and with my jaw like completely to the side of my face and her foot on my face.
Wow.
It was a great shot.
That's cool.
I mean, literally and physically. But anyway, so then the ref comes over and he's doing a standing 8 count. And, I'm conscious, but, I'm kind of out. And so I'm like, I get up on the count of like 5 or 6, and I'm laughing and joking to him, saying, I'm fine. And I'm waving my arms, and I start doing the karate kick where his arms are outstretched and he's doing this like kind of a front kick type thing. And so I start doing this like front kick, waving my leg back and forth, my hands are out. And the crowd's laughing, and finally the referee's like, okay, she's fine. So we continue to the third round, and I think the final score was 5-1. So then we're walking back after the match, and I made the qualifications, and I was walking back to do drug testing at that point, and I was walking with my husband at the time, and he was saying, yeah, you made the Olympic team, or whatever, or almost,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I'm like, huh? How did I do that? I don't remember. I had a major concussion.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we went to Olympic team finals at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, and I got nailed in the back by a really great fighter, real strong fighter. And oh my gosh, that one almost dropped me. It was an accidental shot, but that ended up being a huge factor in being able to compete at the Olympics. And I was almost not able to do it.
Oh, wow. Am I right? Was it about 6 months before when you made the team to when the Olympics took place?
Let's see.
I know it's a lot shorter than other countries.
That sounds about right. Sounds about right.
So was there, just as like the team itself, was there any kind of nervousness about being the first ever team to compete in Taekwondo, but doing it in Seoul, Korea?
Not particularly, but at that time in international competitions, it was Korea who was dominant.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my gosh, I went to Korea several times before the Olympics. I went on training tours, and the way they trained was amazing, just amazing. I mean, just the difficulty and the harshness and the repetitiveness and the hours, everything. So I could understand why they were so good. But that was about the only thing, is that, most weight divisions, it was always the Koreans who would win.
Okay. I know. And I look back, I think I've interviewed 3 people that were on that team, because you, Herb Perez, and Lynette Love, I've all had on the show. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lynette won gold twice.
Yep.
88 and 92, and Herb in 92 gold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
And then
awesome
I'm going to be interviewing Arlene also. She said yes. We're just trying to schedule it. So.
I think she is the queen of Taekwondo.
Nice.
Just one of the toughest and coolest fighters out there. I mean, she made a great reputation, I think in the karate world events, and then she came into Taekwondo and just annihilated everyone.
Yeah.
And she was my main training partner going into the games.
Oh, really? Okay, it's cool.
Yeah, at the Olympic Training Center.
Nice.
Because we were about the same height and just a division apart.
Okay. And so what was that experience like, going over to Korea, going to the Olympics, and standing on that podium? Kind of, what are some of the memories you have of that?
Well, okay, the biggest thing, going to Korea. So our team arrived in Korea about 2.5 weeks before the games, and our competition was going to be one of the first events when the games started up. And so we were all there in this really cool, huge Olympic village that was all like fenced in and compartmentalized, I guess, kind of East and West countries. They kind of kept us separate if they didn't want any conflicts. But we all just beautiful facilities, huge dining area that you can walk through with all these like kind of a buffet type thing, but in all segments where you could have like Korean food, American food, you could have anything, And then the great facilities of the parks that you could train in, beautiful green grass parks with statues and things. Anyway, about my third training session there, we were doing a particular training session where we would have 2 rows of people facing each other.
Mm-hmm.
One row would hold a pad, and you would go through this line of people, this line of your teammates, and kick this kick or that kick or this kick or that kick. And the last one would be an X kick. And so I was like, here, I made the team. I'm at the Olympics. I'm going to do this. And I began with this big, yell,
Oh, yeah.
And I went through that line kicking like a, ferocious banshee or tiger or something. Anyway, but I had that back injury from the Olympic team finals.
Mm-hmm.
And it was extremely painful. So anyway, I went to do that last kick, a high X kick, which used to be my favorite. And the pain just ripped through my back and dropped me to my knees in tears and agony. It was real. It was unreal. And so I kind of picked myself up and staggered off and sat by the wall. And my teammates just kind of turned their back to me, and pretty much everyone dismissed me. My coach, my teammates, they thought, okay, that's it.
Wow.
She won't be able to compete. So, and I'm like, that night, I was like wrestling with this over and over in my mind. Like, oh my gosh, what can I do? After all the doctors say, and I'd been going to 2 doctors and all this kind of stuff, treatments, whatever. All the doctors all along had said the only way your back's going to heal is if you don't kick. I'm like, well, how can I compete at the games? It's a kicking sport. And I'm like, I'm here. I don't want to lose my dream. And I just wrestled with it over and over again. And I came up with a solution. I decided since I couldn't practice physically, I would practice mentally. So when we would go to the Olympic parks and different things with training, I would go to put my back against one of the little, statues up there and, cross my legs, close my eyes, do some deep breathing exercises, and I would go into visualization. And I would practice my moves over and over again, defense, offense, inner sparring, everything. And that's what I did for 2.5 weeks. And at the same time, now this is kind of cool. At the same time, every night I would go to Sports Med.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now at the Olympic Village, you had various gates that you would have to go through to get from one point to another, and they would have guards. But this particular gate exited the property and in order to go to Sports Med. So by that gate, they had different levels of guards. And the highest level, or I call them ninja guards, because they were all dressed in black and they had like AK-47s and everything.
Nice.
So anyway, so this final gate I had to go through every single night. And there was always a group of these ninja guards there. And they were kind of like in this box shelter with a, view type of thing. And I had picked up some Korean. I knew some Korean. And so I'd kind of laugh and joke with them and talk with them as I'd go through or come in or out. And shortly before the Olympics, the day before the Olympics, the night before, I told so anyway, the big thing was always taking photos, right?
Okay.
And we especially like photos with the guards. So, but I wanted a photo with the ninja guards because they were the coolest. And the guards kept refusing. They're like, no, we can't do that. We'll get in trouble. And I'm like, darn. So anyway, the night before, I talked to the guards and I said, hey, if I win an Olympic gold medal, will you guys take a photo with me? And they just laughed. And I'm like, oh, great. Okay. And because they're thinking, yeah, right. Some white girl's going to win over Korea? No. So the day that I won, it was late at night that I came back and I went straight to that guard shack and showed them my gold medal. And I got the photo.
That's awesome. That
cool.
is so cool. Were they pretty surprised when they saw the medal?
Yeah, they were all excited and happy for me.
That is really cool.
It was really cool. Yeah.
So did you, after winning gold in 88, did you ever consider trying to go back in 92? Was that ever on the table?
It was always in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
my win over in my final match was with, well, actually, it was my semifinals was the toughest one. Korea and Taiwan, Chinese Taipei, basically. They were the top two always in all the international competitions back then.
Yeah.
And my final fight, Taipei had beat Korea. And so in my semis, I fought her. And then I fought Denmark in the finals. Anyway, especially that fight, the semifinals, it was a decision fight. There was no points scored, which I'm actually surprised because if I look back, I thought I surely got some. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But after I won, one of my teammates, no, he was the coach. He was assistant coach. He told me in some quiet moment in a hallway or something. He says, you just got lucky. Especially that semifinal fight. They should have, they could have given it to her, and you just got lucky. And that really hurt. And so when I got back home, I kept thinking to myself, you know what? I want to prove that that wasn't just luck. And I wanted to go for 92. But my husband was like, oh, hell no. I don't want to go through this again. So I kind of had to give that dream up.
Wow.
But it was in my mind up until like literally the year before.
Okay. Yeah, and I was just looking through some of the matches and stuff, and Juan Moreno was also on my show. So I guess I've had 4 now from that team, so that's cool.
Oh, yeah. Another amazing fighter.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. This is so cool. So then when you got back and obviously decided, how did the Hollywood thing come about? Is that something was that in your mind? Did you get discovered? How did that basically, how did you turn into that direction?
I was in the San Francisco Bay Area, still married, and after the Olympics, I began writing articles for martial art magazines, and especially one in Los Angeles called Black Belt magazine.
Yep.
So I would write articles for them. Anyway, so they knew me, the editors and the producer of that magazine, and I didn't know anything about Hollywood. I didn't even know they had stunt doubles. I never paid attention.
Yep.
I didn't even know how they did their stunts or whatever, their action. But there was a stunt coordinator who was pulling people together for a film called Undercover Blues with Dennis Quaid and Kathleen Turner. And so that guy was talking to his friends at the Black Belt magazine office, and he was lamenting, saying, I can't find anyone decent. I need a stunt double for Fiona Shaw, who's going to be the bad girl rivaling Kathleen Turner, the good girl. And I need a stunt double for her. She's tall, she's thin, has red hair, and I can't find anyone who has really good talent with fighting and, martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
And the editor said, well, what about Dana Hee? And he showed him a picture of me. So they called me up, brought me down to Los Angeles, flew me down to Los Angeles, and boom, got the deal.
Wow.
And went and filmed Undercover Blues. I think it was like for 5 weeks or so down in Louisiana in a salt mine. That was amazing. a lot of stories there. Made a ton of money.
Nice.
Got home, and unfortunately I was having difficulties with my marriage because as I had trained and competed and then accomplished with the Taekwondo, my mindset really changed, and I wanted more in life. I wanted to go back to college. I wanted to finish my degree. I wanted to probably go into media, get a higher paying job. Life in the San Francisco Bay Area is very expensive, even back then. And he wanted to have kids, and I was very hesitant about that because of various issues with my family. But I wanted to do that. But I wanted more money. I wanted to be secure. I wanted my kids to be secure. So, but it created a conflict because my husband at that time wanted me to be the stay-at-home housewife. He didn't want me out and about. So it was tough. We went back and forth and back and forth. And so that became a big issue.
Okay. And then you obviously, that Undercover Blues, you enjoyed it. You had fun because you decided to keep doing it.
Oh, so yeah, I apologize.
Oh, no, you're good.
So anyway, so what happened is our marriage came to the point where either I stay and I suppress everything I wanted to do and be what my ex wanted me to be. And I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I ended up leaving, and I was trying to think. So I ended up going down to San Diego and living with my brother for a while, trying to get my thoughts together. And I realized, hey, wait a second, Undercover Blues was a lot of fun,
Hmm.
a lot of money. What about becoming a stunt woman? And at the time on Undercover Blues, I worked with Cheryl Wheeler, an amazing fighter, and
Nice.
she was a world class, champion. All these belts and everything, in full contact kickboxing back then.
Hmm.
Anyway, she was really cool. She was the stunt double for Kathleen Turner. So after the film, I had stayed in touch with her. So when in San Diego, I was talking to her one day, and she goes, well, you want to become a stunt woman. Why don't you come up and live with me, and I'll kind of show you the ropes. So that's what I did. And that's how it began.
That is cool. So you ended up doing that pretty much your full-time career for quite a while then, right?
Over 20 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, car hits, stair falls, horse drags, jumps through windows, fire, you name it.
So when you were, at that point where you were, deciding what you wanted to do, did you ever consider opening a martial arts school and becoming a teacher? Was that ever something that crossed your mind?
It crossed my mind, but it was not my passion.
Okay.
Yeah, it never, for whatever reason, it never has been. I mean, I've taught. I used to teach back in our school at
Mm-hmm.
Mikowski's Taekwondo. Back then, it's now called Golden State Taekwondo. But and then I've taught abroad, like various classes or seminars.
Seminars, yep.
But I've never had that passion to really run a school.
Okay. You're doing what you want. That's the important thing.
Yeah. I went into motivational speaking.
Yeah.
And
what led to that? Was that, did someone approach you and say, hey, you have an amazing story, we want you to tell it to many people? Is that kind of how that happened? Or was it something you thought of on your own and said, I want to give this a try?
Nope, never had a thought about that either.
Okay.
Until right after I'd won the gold. I had been working for United Airlines in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
And, they had sponsored me a bit. But anyway, so when I got home and I'd won the gold, they were all excited and happy for me. Anyway, they shortly contacted me and said, hey, we're doing this big event, in San Francisco, and we would like you to come and speak about your story of accomplishment. So I did. And oh my gosh, that was tough. First time in my life talking about my childhood and, tragedy and stuff like that. But then it turns into triumph.
Yeah.
But it was very tough for me. And it was a very moving keynote that I did. Anyway, so I got home and I'm like, that's good. It's good for me. It's good for other people to share my story of success, that you can overcome, self-doubt and lack of confidence and, being shy and afraid. You can overcome that. You can turn that around. And I thought, I need to share this story, no matter how difficult it is for me. So I became determined to start speaking at events, and little by little that grew, and I became a top motivational speaker without speaking to audiences up to 45,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah, the huge, screen behind you, a band on the stage, playing live music, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, did that kind of change at all when COVID hit? I'm assuming that took a big hit in speaking.
Well, even before COVID, I was kind of slowing down. I think doing some other stuff. I was doing a lot of writing and traveling about PR events. But yeah, absolutely, COVID changed everything economically. After that, corporations really had downsized, especially in putting money into bringing in guest speakers.
Yeah.
So yes, the business became very difficult. But like I said, even before COVID, it had become difficult. Times had become hard. I forget what year that was before COVID, where we had an economic crisis in the 90s. So that actually changed a lot.
Yeah, there was the big one in 2008, I know also. That was a pretty big one.
Right, but it was in the 90s that we had a economic crisis, and things really changed after that.
Now, have you heard anything recently? Because I've heard that motivational speaking is making a big comeback. So I got a friend who's been doing that for a living for about 15 years. And he said it's in the last year or so, it's really made a comeback.
Oh, that's really good news, because I'm out of the loop. I'm out of the loop.
Okay.
I kind of just retired, and well, I retired in 2017 from Hollywood. My body's all broken up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. If I sit for a long period of time, you should see me try to stand up and get moving. Once I get moving, I'm okay. But I got some creaks and groans.
I get that. So what led to you deciding to write the book and tell your story?
Things were quieting down with speaking. I had time on my hands, but I really wanted my story to get out there. And all along, all through, ever since basically my husband and I split, I began jotting down thoughts and stories about my life.
Okay.
And then I decided, after when speaking slowed down, I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to do a book. Hopefully it will inspire and help other people. And that was my motivation.
That's cool. And how long did that process take?
Once I set in to do it, about a year.
Wow. Okay.
Pulling my old material together, revamping it, adding stories, adding information, fine tuning it. A guy to help me fine tune it a bit, and got it out there. And right now we're about to get it in. I'm about to get it in Barnes and Noble.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, and then I do have a secondary book. It's called Zero Fear.
Okay.
It's on Amazon also. It's a PG version of the One Step with Courage.
Okay.
I did that because I knew a family who was raising their children, a boy and a girl, very conservatively. They didn't know about stories like mine, with abuse and physical abuse, mental abuse, crazy stuff on the streets. And I thought it was a little too raw and rough, for some audiences.
Yeah.
So I made Zero Fear, eliminating some of that.
Okay.
To make it more PG, kind of like a PG version.
Yeah. So now with you said you started writing back in the 90s for different martial arts magazines and stuff, and you've done the book now. Any interest in doing another book? Do you have another idea out there? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I started writing for the magazines right after the Olympic Games. And then I did the One Step with Courage and Zero Fear. And I've had in mind to do at least 2 other books. So
Nice.
right now I'm working on one. And again, I've compiled information from the past and present.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, right now, my title is The Fly in the Kitchen Window.
Nice. Okay.
And it has to do with me and the fact that I've been so stubborn, and that has been a good thing and a bad thing, but I need to know when it is good and when it's bad. Kind of like the fly that, keeps bouncing off the kitchen window, trying to get outside when the kitchen door is open and it could easily exit and go out the kitchen door.
Yep.
So it's kind of like I use that to say, hey, sometimes if something's not working, we need to figure out a way around it. Anyway, it's an inspirational book, kind of like a self-help book. How did I overcome issues with anger, with abuse, with low self-confidence, low self-esteem and no confidence? How did I do that? How did I turn my life around? So I have all these stories, from childhood to Olympics to present life, overcoming alcoholism, just crazy things, How do you deal with relationships? So that's what that is about. Okay, then my final book, and I don't think I'm going to have it or released until after I die. That one is going to be called My Dirty Laundry.
I love it.
It's all the stories from life in Hollywood, that I normally wouldn't tell people.
I love it. That's awesome.
I got a lot of them.
That is awesome.
Charlie Sheen, working with him and, him calling me in the middle of the night saying, hey, you want to come to my room? And I'm
Wow.
like, maybe not. But I know a lot of other girls who will.
Wow.
On the set. And then, Sylvester Stallone trying to pick me up on Demolition Man and that whole story. And,
That's awesome.
It's interesting. And I have a recording still on little of those old voicemail recordings from your phone. This is Sly. I mean, it was classic. I still have that little
So
cassette.
cool. So have you ever thought of taking the One Step with Courage and trying to write it as a screenplay?
Oh, so no, I never did. But I have a producer friend in Los Angeles who about a year ago decided that he wanted to make a movie based on my One Step with Courage.
Nice.
So he is in the process of putting that together. We're looking for a really, a really good actress who has some good credits under her, and then a really good director that knows how to direct an inspirational story.
Okay.
So once we get the director and the lead actress, then we will have a package, and then we'll get that funded, and then we'll go forward.
That's awesome. So do you picture it with more of an unknown actress or more of a big name, or does that not matter?
I don't think, we've tried the big name actresses. They're turning it down for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay.
Everyone seems to think the story is really good.
Yeah.
And very inspirational. So we're going to go with an actress, like I said, who's a good actress and that has some decent credits under her belt.
Okay, cool. You have to keep me updated on that.
But we are so open for suggestions.
Yeah.
So to all your fans out there, oh my gosh, if you have any suggestions for an appropriate director or a really cool actress that you like, oh my gosh, we would love to have that feedback.
Yeah, well, we'll get some conversations going. I like it. That's really cool. So I know I read also that, obviously throughout your career in Hollywood, you got to like dabble in some other styles for some of the projects you worked on. You did a little bit like Aikido and Capoeira and Jiu-Jitsu and stuff like that. Is there any of those styles that you wish you could have spent more time with and learned a little more?
Of all the styles that I've played around with and stuff, yeah, I wish I'd done more weapons. That would have been really cool.
Okay.
And also Kempo. Tang Soo Do is one of my favorites, though.
Yeah.
But the grappling, I was never strong with that.
Okay.
And then after I discovered that as I was still playing around after the Olympics and traveling, I would travel, and wherever I ended up, I'd usually go into a school and, play. That's what I called it.
Yep.
Fight the local people, the local black belts. But I discovered very quickly, and I would do some training in Los Angeles on the side, private one-on-one sessions.
Yeah.
I quickly discovered I had an issue with my brain. I couldn't take pounding. Like when someone do it, I would hold back, and a strong person would do a kick into the bag. And normally I prided myself on, being able to take that, but I would get a headache.
Oh.
And so I discovered that I couldn't do grappling and tumbling and heavy stuff like that anymore.
Okay.
I actually wanted to go into kickboxing.
Oh, okay.
And oh my gosh, I would have loved it, but I couldn't do it because of the headaches I would get.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah.
That's too bad. So over your, 40 plus years in the martial arts, is there one philosophy that's at the top of your list? It really stands out.
It's definitely the One Step with Courage.
Nice.
And the thing is this, I came from no self-esteem or confidence, and I turned and would run away from any chance to challenge your dream. But what I discovered with training for the Olympics and setting that goal is taking the first step in a new direction with something you've never done before, I think is one of the hardest things that we face in life.
Yeah. Change
is very difficult. And how do you take that first step? But the thing is, if you just push yourself out there and you take that first step, which is the most difficult one, then surely you can take the second, which is a little easier. And then you can take the next and the next and the next. And little by little, if you keep your focus on each thing that you need to do, you can make it, let's say, across a river. Let's say you're crossing a river. It's a very wide river, and maybe it's a bit shallow, but it's fast running, and you're scared to do it. If you take a stone from the shore, you put it next to you, and you step on it, and you put another stone, and you step on it, and you put another stone, and you step on it. Little by little, and you keep your focus on that, you find that all of a sudden you reach the other shore.
Nice.
It's kind of like, okay, when I did a car hit for Natasha, who was that? That was Nastasha Kinski.
Okay.
On a little film called Bella Mafia. So I'm standing in the middle of the pavement in a yellow sundress, strap sandals, and my back is to the car, which is 200 feet away, a big, huge Cadillac. And the Cadillac is going to come along the pavement, and my action is to turn and face it all of a sudden, oh my gosh, get hit by the car and go up and over the car, whatever, right?
Yeah.
How can I do that, right? I did the stunt, and I ended up in, hitting on the hood of the car, slamming into the windshield, up and over the top of the car, glimpses of blue and then brown, the dirt in the sky, and then landing in a cloud of dust on the side of the road. And I pick myself up, right? And I'm dusting myself off and start walking back to the mark, because I have to do the car hit one more time because I want to do a different camera angle. And the cameramen are looking at me and like, oh my God, why do you do this? You could have been killed. And as I walked back to the starting mark, I was smiling to myself, because I knew that if I could keep my focus on what I needed to do at each moment in time, there was no room for the fears to interfere and derail me. It's all about focus and that one step with courage.
That is cool. All right. I got a few fun questions we use to wrap up the interview. So let's say at some point you decided you were going to step into the octagon and fight MMA, fight in the UFC. What would your walk-up music be? What song's playing as you're taking that walk into the cage?
Dun, 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 dun.
Rocky. Oh yeah. That one's probably picked the most, actually. So that's a great song. I mean, it's the reason it's picked the most, because people love that song. I like it.
It would either be that or the Mortal Kombat theme music.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Because I had a blast on all the Mortal Kombat films and TV series and stuff. Yeah. That
is cool. Yeah, I've had Chris Casamassa has been on the show, and a few other guys that have done the Mortal Kombat stuff. So yeah, that's cool.
Oh, yeah. That was some fun times.
All right. Who are 3, 4, 5 names you'd put on your personal Mount Rushmore of martial arts?
Ooh. It's funny. Arlene Lemus comes to mind at the very top of that. There was a player way back when, I'm naming women at the moment.
That's okay.
Her name is Marsha Hall.
Okay.
And she was an amazing fighter. She was part of our Mikowski's Taekwondo school. Valerie Long, just freaking amazing. I don't know why she didn't go for the Olympics, but she's the best fighter I've ever fought.
Nice.
And then I don't know, Herb Perez.
Nice.
Mean fighting machine.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty cool.
Okay. That's a good Mount Rushmore. I like it. All right. Now this one, obviously you can't pick your own, but a favorite martial arts book.
The Bruce Lee books.
Okay. Nice.
They're just so motivating.
Agreed. Yeah.
Absolutely. Very motivating. And he was just an amazing man.
Yeah. Said he died the year before I was born, but I just saw Enter the Dragon on the big screen for the first time a year ago. I had seen it on video 50 times, but they finally replayed it locally for the 50th anniversary. And I got to see it on the big screen. I was so happy. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been awesome. I'd love to see that.
Yeah. It was so cool. It was such a good experience. And my 20-year-old son came with me, and he loved it just as much as me. So it was really cool. All right. How about a favorite martial arts video game? I'm assuming Mortal Kombat maybe, but do you ever get into gaming at all? Or
I never did video games.
Never. Okay.
Never in my life.
Yeah, that one's about 50-50. Yeah, a lot of guests don't have an answer for that one, so that's okay.
Well, I played the character Melina in Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yep.
And most of my fans at Comic-Cons are with the Mortal Kombat Annihilation Melina character.
Nice.
And they have played the games.
That's cool. All right. Now, obviously, these next few questions, you can't pick anything that you worked on. So a favorite martial arts TV show?
Again, the Bruce Lee's.
You're like Green
Yep,
Hornet and stuff?
Enter the Dragon. Yep, everything.
Okay.
Everything with Bruce Lee.
Okay, that's cool.
It's interesting. There's a new Korean actor out there, Shootfire. He's done mainstream movies.
Really?
Oh, Lord, I'm going to have to find out his name. He's great. I don't know his name. We have to find out who he is.
Did you ever watch 20 years ago now, the Korean movie Fighter in the Wind?
No.
Oh, if you can find it, I highly recommend it. It's the true story of Masuyama, but it's told from the Korean side because he was born in Korea and before he changed his name and everything. It's a really good movie. My instructor recommended it to me like 20. Yeah, I saw it like 20 years ago and got a bootleg DVD online or something like that. So.
Oh my gosh, what's the name of it again?
Fighter in the Wind.
Fighter in the Wind. I'd love to know that or see that because Masuyama. Oh my gosh, what a legend!
Yeah, it was a really, really good movie. So, and then for TV shows, did you ever watch the new one, Warrior, that was on?
No, never seen it, never heard of it.
If you like Bruce Lee, Shannon Lee actually is producer.
Oh, no way!
It was the show Bruce Lee originally pitched to Hollywood back in the early 70s, and they basically said no to it, and then they made Kung Fu, which was kind of similar show, but she found his original notes from back then from the pitch and she brought it back to life, and they 3 seasons. It's all on Netflix right now. And it's a phenomenal show. Amazing martial arts, amazing acting, amazing storytelling. Just if you're a Bruce Lee fan, I think you like it a lot.
Okay. Called Warrior.
I
definitely want to see that. Yeah. Warrior.
Definitely. All right.
Cool.
Final question. Now this one doesn't have to be a martial arts movie. Any movie you've seen in your whole life, a favorite movie fight scene? Is there just one fight scene that jumps out?
Oh, sorry. Has to be Enter the Dragon.
Nice.
But there's several fights.
Yeah. Which one do you like? I like
the one out in the courtyard with that big Goomba.
O'Hara, I think was his name.
O'Hara.
Yep. See, I like the one in the mirrored room. That's one of my favorites from that movie.
And then I was going to say in the fight with the mirrors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like it. That's
the
good.
The suspense on that is great.
Yeah. All right. So before I let you go, is there anything I forgot to ask you, or we just want to be sure we get out there quick? And like I said, when this comes out, I'll put links out there for your books and anything else you want me to. But is there any last minute stuff we want to mention?
No, not much. I think we covered ground on a lot of stuff. The main thing is my motivation in life is I had such a rough time growing up and overcoming issues. So I really want to get that information out to help other people so that they can do the same. One Step with Courage, the book, and meeting people at the Comic-Cons, doing some PR events or speaking. It's all about helping someone else, lending a hand up or giving a hand up.
Yeah.
To someone who's struggling. Yeah.
I like it. That's
so
cool.
That's what it's all about.
Seriously, Dana, this has been such an honor and such a great conversation. I've enjoyed this so much. I love hearing your story and everything you've overcome and accomplished in your life. It's so inspiring, and I really think the listeners are going to love this too.
I hope so. And hey, I just pray I hear back also about their thoughts about what actress might work to be a good actress for a film. So
hey, I will encourage them to reach out because I do like that. I'm a big movie buff, so I have some ideas. I'll be emailing you some stuff, and we'll hopefully get some good stuff working. So
that'd be awesome. Hey, thank you, Brian. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Everyday Martial Artist. We hope you will join us every week for a brand new episode with a different martial artist telling their story. If you enjoy the show, be sure to leave us a review. Also, be sure to check out our website at everydaymartialartist.com. There you can find all of our episodes and contact us to suggest guests and ask questions. Again, thanks for listening to Everyday Martial Artist, and we'll see you next week.